Success comes not from addition, but from subtraction. So not plus, but minus. Right. So let me tell you a story. So until recently, I have noticed that pretty much anything that I've tried to add on in my day-to-day life, it did give me some extra productivity, some extra points, merits. But at the end of the day, it didn't change much. But once I have slowly started cutting off all of the bad habits that I did, I have noticed that my productivity skyrocketed. And that's when I realized that it's actually, no matter how much you stack on top of each other, you can't put everything together. It's just not possible. Instead, you have to cut out the unnecessary things. So there's a scenario of 4 different people. I want you to imagine that. So the first guy, what he does is he's just doing the good habits. The second guy, he does only bad habits. Third guy does good and bad ones. And the fourth guy does none of them. So if we ask you a question, which one of these 4 would be most productive and least productive? From 1 to 4. Logically, you would put the guy who's doing only bad habits the most productive, so number 1. Number 4 would be the guy that does only the bad habits. But here comes the question, who would get the second place? Is it the guy who does none of the habits, or the guy who does both of the habits? The answer is no, it is not the guy who does both of them, because even though he does good ones, he's still doing the bad stuff that is holding him back from his true potential. Does that make sense? Surely it does, because when I realized that, something just clicked in my mind and I realized, holy shit, I've been doing it wrong my whole life. Because I was constantly trying to add on some new techniques, new stuff, new, how they say, something new basically every single time. Sure, it worked for a short amount of time, but still, since I had basically not much of a time, I couldn't do everything at the same time. And that's why I also didn't perform well. Because at the same time I was doing the bad habits, I was playing games, eating junk food, doing PMO, and so on. I wish someone would have told me that earlier. But it is what it is, man. I'm still grateful that I've found about this. It's actually quite powerful. And what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to slowly cut everything that takes my time, my precious, young, ambitious man's time. Hopefully you can not only relate to that, but also literally think, hey, this random dude on YouTube is right. What he's saying is actually true. And so far I was focusing on doing the addition stuff, not the subtraction. Now the question is, what can you do to perform better? What can you look like a maniac to think that you should cut off that thing? Or, by the way, it doesn't necessarily have to be a thing, it can be a person. For example, some dumb person who's slow, who's like making your life overall worse, you might think that he's your friend just because you're hanging out together. But he's not really your friend. He mocks your ambition. He laughs at you for going to the gym, improving your life, because he thinks that it is worthless. There is no reason for you to do that. Our life is over. If you have someone like that in your life, I'd highly suggest to cut them out. What you're doing is slowing down in a race of men. They're inhibiting your potential. And so you will not become the best version of yourself. And that is the most important in our lives as a man, to become the best possible version of ourselves. I myself have already started doing subtraction. I've started from the easiest one, from the video games. Apparently, it was way easier to stop doing it than I was thinking. I just stopped, and that's it. Then the next thing is I cut out the sugar so that my insulin won't really rise up together. Rise really high. What's the next thing? Right now, I'm fairly fighting with, I'm not gonna say no fat because it's kind of different. I'm not really focusing on it. By the way, it's the completely different story. But don't really be obsessed with no fat. It's not gonna do you any good, only worse for you. I'm trying to fight the... No, it's actually wrong, man. I'm not trying to fight the urges. I'm trying to be more focused on my work so that I less think about the bad stuff. This is actually another pro tip. Just think more about what you need to do rather than what you shouldn't do. That way, you'll actually do less of things that you should not do at all. This is a small tip from me. Alright, man. Hopefully you found your answer in this video. I grew, you grew, we grew. And yeah, I've decided to put that at the end of the video instead of the beginning. It is just a small test to see how it actually performs. Right, let's do it again. I grew, you grew, we grew. Be well, my friend, stay strong.